Good afternoon. My name is Charles Cowherd, and I'm the priest in charge here at St. Timothy's Episcopal Church. And on behalf of the wardens and the vestry, I'd like to invite and welcome you into the sacred space for this spring organ plus concert. I know that if you're like me, you're dying to get to the concert part of it and not necessarily... This is my son, Mark, and he really likes our technology. And you're dying to get to the music portion and you don't want to hear me talk, but I just want to say a few thank yous. And first is to our pastoral care team, and especially to Danny and Karen for having the idea for this event and for shepherding it to this point. And then secondly, of course, to all of our musicians, especially the maestro himself, Todd Gravetti, for putting this all together. This is a stunning lineup here that we have. We can go ahead and give him a round of applause. A stunning lineup of music, and I'm just so excited for what we're going to get to be able to do this afternoon here. Ask you to extinguish or silence or put on vibrate your cell phones so we can enjoy the music fully, and otherwise to enjoy the show.
So at this time, I'd like to invite my organ student, Owen, over to play for us. And first, I'll say good afternoon. Excuse me. Thank you all for being here on this lovely afternoon. So you picked to be indoors instead of outdoors. So thank you. I'm very appreciative, and welcome to all of those who are watching us live on YouTube. So, and if you want to see this later, you can look at the church's YouTube channel and watch it later, and it will be posted there. So you can read about all of the biographies of all the people in your program. So I won't take more time doing that, but it has been a pleasure teaching Owen, and he's off to college in the fall, and so I asked him to join our recital today, and he happily said yes. So thank you, Owen. He is playing kind of like the composer, the king composer of all composers for the organ, J.S. Bach, and he's playing a prelude and a fugue, so it's 2 movements, so just kind of hold your applause until the very end. A fugue is a melody that just repeats, so in an organ fugue, you usually have the soprano speaks the melody, the theme in the right hand, and then the alto comes in, and that's usually with the right hand, and then the tenor part comes in, that's with the left hand, and then the bass comes in, and that's with your feet. So that's what you'll hear in the second movement, which is the fugue. So enjoy. So I'll talk to you while the quartet is coming over to play. So Handel was a contemporary of Bach. Of course, Handel moved to England and spent most of his time there, where he wrote, famous things like The Messiah, where the Hallelujah chorus comes from. And The Messiah is an oratorio which goes on and on and on for like 2.5 hours, and he wrote many other oratorios. But he wrote these organ concertos to break them up. So between each of the sections of the oratorio, he would have these concerto and the concerti, and he wrote 16 of them. This is a set of 6. This is probably the most famous of them. It was written about 1735, and it was written for a chamber organ. So a chamber organ has no pedals, and it has only one manual usually, and it only has like maybe 3 or 4 stops, so it's very tiny. And so this organ does chamber music really well not because it's tiny, but because it has such soft, sweet stops, I guess you could say. So I think it really fits perfectly with this instrument. So enjoy. So as we're cleaning up and moving things aside, we'll use the piano later, so hence the cleaning up of it. It has been a pleasure to play with Ellen Grace Burke and Alexis Roque. I did not know them before I came to St. Tim's, but they are members here, and they grew up here, and were baptized here, and so it's so nice to be able to get to know them. They're really super talented, so I know you're in for a treat. With this next piece, it is 3 movements, a fast, slow, fast, and I'll tell you maybe a couple little things to listen for. At the beginning, I'm playing kind of like the cello with Ellen Grace while she plays the melody, and so I'm playing it in my feet, and I'm actually playing a stop called the cello. It's probably one of my favorite stops on the organ. I'll let you listen to it by itself. Yum, bum, bum. It sounds almost like you're playing a cello. Like, it's a really beautiful stop. And then at the very when I echo Ellen Grace, I'm playing another one of my favorite stops on this organ. It's called the Melodia, and it's an 8-foot flute. Also one of my favorites. Lots of very pretty stops on this instrument. Okay, enjoy. So while Alexis is coming over, this next piece is based on an old German chorale, Herzliebster Jesu, or Ah Holy Jesus. And if you're interested, it's found in your blue hymnal, the hymnal 1982, on page 158. And you don't really hear the melody at the beginning. It's just very reflective. It sets you, it kind of, this chorale was written, it's a very beautiful text, was written in honor of, or in Jesus' passion. And so you hear this at Lent, especially during Holy Week. And so Alexis and I actually played this for Good Friday, which is the day, the service, where Jesus dies on the cross. And so the melody fits perfectly with the text. And later on in the piece, you'll hear the melody, but it's played very, very slowly in whole notes in the organ. And so why don't I just play that for you? So if you're not familiar with the tune, you'll at least recognize it when it comes up. I'll play it faster. So that has been sung in churches since the 1600s, and just very beautiful and fitting for the mood of the time when that hymn is sung. Enjoy. So many thanks to everyone who has helped put this together, especially the care team, and the members of note are definitely Danny Wechtenheiser and Karen Wilkins. Danny came to me with the idea to do this, and one of the first things she said was it would be nice to do like a demonstration, you know? And so I wanted to talk a little bit about the organ, and then I'm going to play this piece, which is going to demonstrate all the different sounds of the organ. And wonderful soprano here in the choir, Kathy, is going to help be my registrant, which is my stop puller for this piece. But this organ has a long history. It was built in 1870 by J.D. Moore in Worcester, Massachusetts, and it's the last example of his work. So there's no more like this one. And it was donated by the First Unitarian Church in Barre, Massachusetts in 1968. And they were clearing the lot for a parking lot, so they had to tear down the church. And so they donated the organ to St. Timothy's. And that was in 1969 when Henry Hall was first built. When they first came to this location, the church was originally on Eldon Street. It's now a Masonic temple. And so when they first moved to this location, only Henry Hall was there, and the organ was actually in there, which is our parish hall next door. And then in 1982, when this was built, it was moved in here. And then in 2017, there was a major renovation in the church. The carpet was taken out, thankfully. I've been in here before when the carpet was in here, and it's just a world of difference. It sounds so nice in here. And the organ was rebuilt, not restored, which is important, because it has changed very much through the years. It was not like this in 1870. So it wasn't restored, it was rebuilt and fixed. A lot of things were broken. And basically how our organ works is a blower, which nowadays is electrified, and it blows into the bellows, like the bellows on a wooden fireplace, you know? And there's a reservoir that keeps the air there stored and ready to go. When you play many notes at a time, you can actually see the reservoir jump down to keep the pressure for the wind going through so that it won't sag and the organ will be in tune. So when the stops on the organ, when you pull them out, which is where the term pulling out all the stops, when you pull out all the stops, it's very loud. So when you're planning a party and you're pulling out all the stops, you're, letting it all hang out. So when you pull a stop, on this organ, it's activated manually, and so some organs you'll see buttons everywhere, and that's an electric organ where you can set your registrations preset and then push a button and recall them later, which is a nice luxury that this organ doesn't have. And so that's why I have to have people like Kathy help me with these type of things. But it's very historic, so therefore there's no electric things like that. And the keys have trackers, so this organ is known as a tracker organ, because when you push a key, there's actually a wooden tracing that goes to the division where the pipes are. And then when you have a certain stop pulled, so for instance, if I pull out the great trumpet right now and I play middle C, and I push it, there's a wooden little tracing, like I said, that opens the louver underneath the pipe, and then the wind goes through. And the cool thing about tracker organs is you can play and turn the power off, and there's still sound. There's still sound, and then it starts to die slowly, so that's kind of funny to do. Some pieces are actually written that way. But if you don't pull out stops all the way, they'll be out of tune. So for instance, you have to be careful. So I slowly turned it on, so you have to pull it out all the way for it to engage. And then on this organ, there are 3 divisions. The great manual's on the bottom, the swell's on the top. The reason they call it the swell is because it has like Venetian blinds. They're wooden shades. And there's a pedal, looks like a gas pedal on this organ. You push it open with your feet or forward, and the pedals, the louvers inside open, the shades. And so you can get it, so if I play the oboe, open, and then I close it. Not such a big effect on this organ, but some organs have a really tight seal, and it makes it even quieter. When a key is depressed, the air flows from the reservoir into those keys, into those certain pipes, called a rank. So for instance, that trumpet is one rank of pipes. So on this organ, a rank of pipes is 56 pipes, because there's 56 keys on these keyboards. And then the pedal stops, there's only 30. There's 30 notes that you play with your feet. And so this organ has 24 ranks, so 20 stops, and then 24 different sets of ranks of pipes. So you have a lot of different colors and things you can use. And then there are 5 families of stops: the diapason, which is your typical organ sound, the flutes, the strings, the reeds, which is like your trumpets, your oboes, and then mutations. And mutations are very hard to understand, but basically it's harmonics. And so on this organ, there's a cornet. And so when you play one note, you actually have 3 pipes playing at once. So when you hear that, you're like, why would you want harmony when you're trying to play a melody? It's very confusing. But when you play it up the octave and you add some lower stops with it, it almost sounds like a trumpet. So not a trumpet, but an organ solo sound, so it's very nice. And then also there's another type of mutation called a mixture, which adds brilliance to the sound. And it doesn't sound like much by itself. They're very, very tiny pipes. But when you add it on top, it gives brilliance to the sound. And this organ also has a Zimbelstern, which you guys heard in the opening piece. And if you're up front, you can see the bells. They're straight up on top. And they're just 5 bells, I think, and they spin around. No, some are different, but these sit still, and there's actually a mallet that spins around and hits all of them at once, which is kind of funny. And the different lengths of pipes affects the sound. So if you ever, after the concert, if you come and look at the key desk or the console, you'll see a lot of numbers. So if you pull an 8-foot stop, then that lowest note is 8 feet tall, but it plays at pitch. So if I were to go to play a middle C on a piano right now and then play this, it's the same pitch. 4 foot is up an octave, and then 2 foot's an octave higher than that, and then a 16 foot's an octave lower than that. So on this organ, another one of my favorite stops is the sub bass. This actually has a date stamp of 1863 on it, so it may have come from another organ. And if you see the big wooden, behind the big golden pipes on the towers on the outside, the wooden pipes is the sub bass, and they're big boxes of wood, basically, so they have a lot of room to resonate, and they go all the way up, and so this is what they sound like. So it's a lot of wind that you have to go into that. So, all right, so with this piece, there's a little insert that I hope you all got with it, and I just gave that to you so you'll know what I'm doing and when I'm doing it. Hopefully it doesn't confuse you, but I just wanted you to see the different sounds, the changes that we're making. Usually you don't have these big pregnant pauses in between the different sections, but I'm just doing this to show you the different sounds. So I hope you enjoy it. These next couple of pieces are with piano, so forgive us while we make a little transition here. So in the next two pieces, you'll hear a chaconne, and a chaconne is like a fugue. It's a repeating theme that comes back. However, it's usually in the bass or in the pedal. So in the next to the last piece you'll hear on the program, it's played in the pedal, the feet on the organ. Here, it's played in the low notes on the piano, and the theme you'll hear right at the beginning, played in the piano solo, and it continues all the way through. So two chaconnes from two different time periods. If some of you are my friend on Facebook, you may have seen that I was geeking out about having a trombone stopped revoiced. And so you'll hear this in the pedal solo at the beginning, but mostly at the end in the chaconne, when you hear that third movement melody at the very beginning, that's the newly revoiced trombone. So it's a little softer than it was before. It didn't really fit with the organ. The pipes in the back, if you walk around at the end of the concert, those are new. So they were built in 2017. They're all brand new. There's other stops inside the organ that were pulled from other organs from the 19th century. So the organ was much smaller when it was first built in 1870, but then through the years they added stops from other organs that were from that same time period so that they would match. And the whole pedal division in the back is all new, including that trombone. And now for, I think, one of the most impressive pieces, I'll invite Owen back over. And he also has a big pedal solo in this piece, which is very impressive. So I've been very pleased with Owen's progress and hard work. He's always eager to come and practice, and the organ's not always available for him to practice on, so it's been, tough finding practice time, but I appreciate his patience and also the welcome of St. Timothy's to let him come and practice when he needs to, because it's not easy to find an organ around. And thank you again to everyone who helped make this possible. Thank you again for being here today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I didn't talk too much, and I hope you learned something. That's most important, so thank you again.
Absolutely. Just a couple of announcements, if you could take your seats again. And I would like just because it's Father's Day, and if the parents of the musicians here present could stand and we could recognize them, because I know it's a difficulty oftentimes being the parent of a musician. And I always joke with Todd that Owen's in here, like he said, and he's practicing during the week, and it's such a gift for me working here for him to do that, and that they're the sorcerer and the sorcerer's apprentice, and it's seeing that relationship. But I also know there's a lot of support goes into making a musician. Just a few announcements. If you liked what you saw today with the organ, you're welcome to come back tomorrow morning, Sunday, 10 a.m. every week. You can hear this beautiful organ with choir. And it's certainly a pleasure for me to share in ministry with Todd. I'm going to be handing out as you leave a little bit of a schedule of the upcoming events that we have going on here at St. Timothy's. And so you can grab one of those from myself or one of the ushers. And next month we have a block party outside with a band. And I assure you that the weather is going to be just as beautiful as it is today. And so you're all welcome back. Especially if you're looking for a church home. I know COVID's been disorienting for everybody on so many levels. Please talk to me, check us out on our website, and we'd love to get to know you a little bit better. And you have an announcement, please.
Well, I have a request.
Of course, yeah.
Thank you so much. Father Charles, is that right?
I think you might have to go here.
Okay. I'm Wendy Osterling, music director at Grace Episcopal Church in Berryville, and I've probably known Todd longer than any of you in this room. I've had the pleasure of working with him since he was 18 years old. And I have a request. I don't know if you want to take your shoes off or not. Could we, all of us, what a lovely instrument. Oh my goodness. And such a wonderful music space. Whew. I'd like to hear the whole organ, all of the stops, as though it were a crescendo pedal. And I'd like to hear a hymn. Would you humor me and do that, Todd? Maybe 390 or something, you can choose, but something loud that we all know, and just do the whole thing, because we don't get to do that on Sunday morning. And with such a wonderful instrument and the work that's been done, I think it's worth all these folks who like organ, including me, to hear it. Thank you.
So pretty much the end of my piece was full organ, but I'll add a couple of little things to it. Yeah, soon. Thank you. Thank you again.
You're so talented. Wow. I honestly had no idea that organ had all of those components. So I learned a ton.
I got no more fun. I was busy.
Keep going. And I mean, it takes every